All right. Technical difficulties averted. I am so thrilled. It's funny. Get everything all set up, get ready to press the button, and the button says, no, we're not quite ready to roll. So first and foremost, gang, welcome to our ongoing series of the Mastermind Jumpstart Facebook series. And we are pushing, I guess we're getting into our seventh or eighth Facebook Live, and our purpose, simple and straightforward, and I want to be really clear about this, is to support you to get your mastermind up and running and operational and profitable and assist you to get all those things happening in 2018. So what happens is this: we spend approximately 15 minutes every day at 3 p.m. Mountain, and I give you a little tip, a little tool, a little process that is gleaned from the programs that we, or that I teach primarily, and those are the Launch Your Mastermind 90-Day Bootcamp, which is a kick-ass digital program with a ton of hand-holding and support that assists you to position, launch, and lead your own mastermind. Also, some of those comments are taken, or some of that topics are taken from our Mastermind to Millions Live event, which we do annually in Phoenix, which is just a kick-ass and amazing event. And as you're getting yourself all registered and all that stuff, or showing up here, please do me a favor and say hello and tell us where you're from. We have been absolutely honored that we've had people who've been participating from Australia, from the United Kingdom, literally setting their alarms to get up in the middle of the night to watch these. So, wherever you're from, please say hello. That is all fantastic. Now, first things first is that we have been sharing a ton of resources with people in terms of getting their masterminds up and running. And sharing those resources, the best way to get them is this. In the comment window below this video, or depending how you're watching it, sometimes it's beside the video, type in the word master. And when you type in the word master, here's what's going to occur. Our Facebook Messenger bot, his name is Lou, if you haven't met him already. He is my 6-month-old Hungarian Vizsla who's well earned the name Hurricane Lou. And so if you put that in, what will happen is that you will get our Mastermind Mentors Manual. And this is a 52-page manual that has all of the structure about how to lead a mastermind well. And our topic today, by the way, you'll see why that's so important. So all you need to do is put in master below, and when you do that, you will get that Mastermind Mentors Manual delivered to you. We'll also make sure that we notify you and invite you to come and join us for any of the other Facebook Lives, because at this stage of the game, I think we've got 7 or so left. And they're going to get more and more and more specific. We've been painting the broad picture so far. We're about to get very, very specific in terms of our structure and process. And in fact, we're going to do a little bit of like a challenge, which means we're going to teach you something and you're going to go do it. We're going to continue that on throughout the end of the Mastermind Jumpstart program. So on that note, hello Sangeeta, so good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I don't think you've been to any of the shows before, but I am glad that you are here. Now, our topic. Let's jump into our topic today because we don't have a whole heck of a lot of time together. Again, free resources, type in master down in the chat window, we'll go from there. Our topic today is this: the 7,982 reasons why masterminds fail. And I'll say that again just for fun and entertainment because it makes me snicker every single time. The 7,982 reasons why masterminds fail. Hey Leanne, so good to see you again. Now, I actually believe that 7,982 reasons is an abbreviated list. There's a whole lot more reasons to this. And by the way, for those of you who haven't been here with us before, I should let you know as well that this is a bit of a play on a previous episode, which was the 2 reasons that masterminds fail to launch. But once they're up and running, there's a whole bunch of other ways in which they can go awry. Now, I clearly do not have enough time in our 15 to 20 minutes that we spend together to go through the whole 7,982 reasons, so I have chosen the top 3, and I want to go through the top 3 with a bit of depth and a bit of meat so that you really understand what they are and what you must do to, number 1, cope with them, make sure that they don't get you in trouble. So, on that note, gang, I am going to move over to the easel because today is going to be a little bit of a teaching episode. And we're going to let Stephen, who is in the background, guiding me and helping me out, maneuver the process. And you let me know when you're ready there, Stephen. Looks like my head's chopped off on Instagram. I don't know if we can do something about that a little bit. All right. So let me just put some context and framework into this whole piece about why masterminds fail. First and foremost, in the big picture, masterminds fail for one fundamental reason, is that masterminds are made up of these crazy things called human beings. And these crazy things called human beings are a whole lot easier to manage in a one-on-one than they are in a small group. And here's the honest to goodness truth, is as you add more people to a mastermind, the management of the relationships and the management doesn't grow in a linear manner. It's like, great, so there's me and Stephen in a mastermind, and then we add Leanne. That in theory, that's just adding one more person. But it adds an exponential degree of complication because of how human beings manage relationships. So, for example, there's me, there's Stephen. So there's two of us. Then there's our relationship. All well and fine. But if we add Leanne, then suddenly there's a relationship between Stephen and Leanne, there's a relationship between me and Leanne, there's a relationship between Stephen, me, and Leanne, then there's this whole entire process that we all have different access to. So it gets more and more complicated as we add people in. So here, I'm going to count down the 3 reasons, I'm going to cover that up. I'm going to count down the 3 top reasons why masterminds fail. I'm going to do it in reverse chronological order. Here is number 3, structure. Now, here's what's interesting. Notice that I didn't say that the issue or the reason is because there's too much structure or too little structure, because here's the honest to God truth about it, is that it is like a pendulum. On this side here, we have too much. And too much structure is when we try to over-engineer the experience, where it is so consistent that people know what's going to happen ahead of time. It's like, we always do a check-in, then we always do a hot seat, then we always do some content. You know what? That's all well and fine. That predictability works well at the beginning for building trust in all those pieces. But if you don't mix it up a little bit, then it becomes boring and people think, been there, done that. Now, conversely, over here, we have too little. And too little looks a little bit like this. Instead of there being this amount of structure, it's like, hey, we're just going to get together. It's going to be like a Thursday night. Some of you have got some business problems you've been dealing with, and we're going to help you out. It'll be fantastic. Some people will share some stuff. It'll be great. Suddenly I'm like a Californian surfer who's high. I give you my word, I'm not high. But what happens is that this pendulum actually is a problem. And what you're after here, if you're really going to design a structure, is that you want a balance point in the middle, which, by the way, is going to start with high structure. And there's going to be times where you are going to deliberately kick it over, that there's going to be stuff and experiences that are incredibly low structure. This is one of the reasons why we would do, like in our elite mastermind group that we did for elite entrepreneurs, is we would set up dinners. And we did one where we set up a dinner with F.W. de Klerk after he won the Nobel Peace Prize in South Africa. That was a highly unstructured and surprise activity, which was kind of cool. Oh yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm just going to hide this because you can't quite see what's going on there. So start with a high degree of structure because it provides consistency, it provides reliability, it provides consistent set of results, and it builds trust. But then you've got to mix it up, and what we're really looking here is for balance. And that balance is a structure that evolves and moves based upon the maturity of the group. Based upon the maturity of the group, and of course, as you all always know, based upon the promise, the positioning, the structure of the group. And we're going to do way more about the PPSP. I believe that is the day after tomorrow. So this is the number 1 reason. They get boring and people leave them because there's too much structure and they're too tight, or the results and the connection is inconsistent because there isn't enough structure. You design the structure to fulfill the promise, and you got to mix it up. Now, on that note, I want to make sure if there's any questions or comments, gang, let us know what's going on. I would love to hear from you. Fill us in. Here's another thing, by the way. Again, I just want to remind you. Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you I was going to come sit down, did I? Thank you, Stephen. I've produced television over the years and those sorts of things, and I'm frankly a cameraman's nightmare, so I appreciate you keeping up with me. But I want to just go back to this point that I was about to make. If you know anyone in your life, in your business, in your community, in your tribe, who is working on positioning, launching, leading a mastermind, or has a mastermind and they're trying to step it up, I would strongly suggest share this video. Hell, share the whole video series with them. Because the truth is, it's sometimes just a couple of little adjustments that make all the difference in the world. And again, hey Karen, good to see you. By the way, congratulations and welcome to the Momentum program. I was thrilled that you made that choice. That's so fantastic. Now, back to our point, which is this. Structure follows promise and positioning, and you mix it up. Higher structure at the beginning, you have greater latitude as trust is built up. Now, let's move on then, gang, to number 2. And, and by the way, for any of you who are new, you just type in the word master, M-A-S-T-E-R, in the chat window below here, and you're going to get the complimentary manuals. You'll get the reminders of the rest of the Mastermind Jumpstart series, so you can take advantage of all of the content. So, number 2, the number 2 reason why masterminds fail is this. And we'll wait for, there we go, the big reveal. Thank you, Stephen. Is facilitation, or lack thereof. Now, I want to talk about this for a brief moment, and I alluded to it already a little bit when I was talking about the structure piece. But here's the honest to goodness truth. You must have small group management skills. Because here's the honest to goodness truth. And I'm going to draw this, and I hope it comes through reasonably well, is this. Is that all of us, if we are going to call this like 0, and we would call this like plus 10, and we call this minus 10, all of us have this going on in our lives. Okay? We all have the ups and downs. Is that reasonably visible in terms of, yeah, I think that it is. Now, in these ups and downs, the part I want you to really understand is this. I've nicknamed these the dips. I've nicknamed these the turns. Now, obviously, we hope that there is a turn, because if there isn't a turn, then this is what happens. And that's not a ton of fun. Okay? The dips and the turns. Now, if you are not a decent facilitator, if you don't understand the natural dynamics of human beings, if you don't understand the natural dynamics of human beings coming together in a group, there are always indicators and early, I'll call them clues, or cues, that the dip in energy is happening. And part and parcel of your job as a mastermind leader is to, number 1, communicate that this is a natural process. And in fact, also communicate that the role of the mastermind is to have some of the difficult conversations about what is it for you and what is it for us that triggers a dip. How do you know that a dip is starting to occur? So I think it was in our Facebook Live 2 days ago. Someone was saying, it's like, I got a mastermind, they're great, fantastic, but what do you do about people that don't show up on time? Well, what I didn't say to him at the time, I was giving him this idea about structure and ground rules and all the rest of it, but showing up late is an early cue. It is an early indicator that the group and the individual is going into the beginning of a dip. Now, by the way, there's 5 to 7 different hints and cues about the dips, and we teach those in great depth and detail in Launch Your Mastermind Bootcamp, at the Mastermind to Millions live program, in our one-on-one programs, all those sorts of things. But you've got to be a good enough facilitator to recognize what something means. Another great one, just in terms of this whole piece, is withholding. When you know somebody has some value that they could contribute to somebody else in the group, but they don't do it. They're just sort of holding their cards close to their chest, or they're not really willing to step up and engage. When that happens, again, that is one of the early signs of we've got a dip coming up. Now, here's the thing. If you're a really good facilitator, you're not really facilitating just a mastermind. You are facilitating the dips and the turns of life and your group. And ideally, and I'm going to draw this in a different color. So most people, most human beings, this is just how it goes, up and down and up and down. But if you're in a mastermind group and you're leading a great mastermind group, here's what we're actually after. Is we're after the ability to go, oh man, we're in a dip. I see, yes, that whole first turn. It's like, okay, I got it. Get it back up. Oh, I recognize that there's a dip. And oh man, I crossed the line. What is that? How do I do a turn faster? Okay, there we go, I've got it. It's going, oh yeah, I had a trigger, but I'm going to manage my turn faster. Oh yeah, I get it. I'm going to manage my turn faster. And the truth is, when that happens over time, we spend less time down here in the dumps and the difficulties because we have the support of a community that can actually have the conversation. And we must have the facilitation skills to face those conversations directly. Now, I hope that makes some sense. I want to just come back. I'm going to see if there's any comments or questions or clarifications about this. But honest to goodness, the loudest thing I can say to you about this is that most of the time when people say a mastermind failed or didn't do what they were supposed to do, and it's because the commitment sort of waned and dissipated, here's the more honest answer. The commitment waning is a symptom of shitty facilitation. It's just a symptom of this shitty facilitation because the commitment will wane. It must wane. It always wanes. It's like breathing. It's like human beings. But it's your job as the facilitator and as the guide to manage it. Hopefully that makes some sense. Let's come back for comments, questions, see if I can clarify anything. Alrighty, gang. Hello and welcome. I see that we've got a couple of new people here. So if you haven't already said hello and introduced yourself about where you are, please do that. In addition to that, if you haven't got all of our, complimentary resources, make sure that you type in the word master, and you will get the Mastermind Mentors Manual, which is a really powerful and astounding tool. So if you have any questions about reason number 3 and reason number 2, why masterminds fail, you pop them in here. I will do my very best to answer them for you. I'll give my name back up there. And by the way, gang, I see that we've got some new people here, so I should just tell you, I have been leading masterminds and training coaches, facilitators to position, launch, and lead their own masterminds for over a quarter century. And recently, in terms of the last couple of years, I have helped, quite literally, thousands and thousands and thousands of people to do this. It is not my first rodeo. It is not my first canoe trip. I've been at this for a while. So if there's anything that I can help you with, then ask. Hey Christine, so good to see you. I'm glad that you found us here again. It's raining in White Rock and it's only minus 32 degrees here in Calgary. Yeah, freaking who. We can't even take the dog to the park. It's so darn cold. Okay. Are you ready for number 1, the number 1 reason why masterminds fail? And if you are ready for that, type in the little chat box, number 1 reason, while I have a sip of coffee. And by the way, gang, I want to be super clear about this, if it isn't already to you, that simply putting a little time, effort, energy, and thought into the design of, number 1, the structure of your mastermind. Number 2, getting the skills and the support that you need in terms of facilitating. It's one of the reasons why in our Launch Your Mastermind 90-Day Bootcamp, we actually have an entire module dedicated to facilitator training. You can be proactive about these things. You do not need to get stuck in any way, shape, or form. All right, ready for the 1 reason. Hello, Apostle. So good to see you again. Okay, let's get rolling. The number 1 reason. The number 1 reason, turning the paper the correct direction, is vetting. Now, I have to tell you this. I have been blessed to be in a position where some fairly big players in the, what we'll call the intellectual property industry and the internet marketing industry, when things don't go exactly as they might like in their mastermind, I get a late night text and a phone call that says, hey, can you help me? And in fact, it's happened enough times that I've sort of made up a smart ass name for those calls, is that I get those calls when there is a mutiny on the mastermind. And if I had more time, I would take my weird brain and publish a short film about the mutinies on the masterminds, because honest to goodness, it's a little bit funny. Now, not funny, well, let me rephrase this. It's not funny when it's your mastermind, but from the outside it can be fairly funny. But here's the number 1 thing, in every single circumstance, in the multitude of times that I have helped people with this, is that the mutiny on the mastermind was started by and created by the mastermind leader, him or herself, because they did not vet the members properly. I'm going to say that again, they did not vet the members properly. So there's a really important component to this, is that I want each of you to think of yourselves from this perspective. You are not an entrepreneur who sells a mastermind. Please hear that. You are not an entrepreneur who sells a mastermind. What you are is you're like the gatekeeper. Let's imagine this is the mastermind you're in front of. You are the gatekeeper of this powerful, intimate, and amazing community. That there's only one way to get through the gatekeeper and into the community, and it's this crazy thing. It's called to qualify. You must qualify. Okay, you can't buy your way in, you can't bribe your way in, you can't kiss your ass on the way in, there's only one way in, and that is to qualify. Now, the unfortunate truth in too many circumstances is that the vetting process is determined by the amount of money on somebody's credit card. And I gotta tell you, that's bullshit and it's inappropriate. And it leads to problems down the road. Now, here's the part that I want to draw this over here. That green's a little bit tough to read on there, isn't it? Here, I'll do this in black. Here's what I want you to understand, is that I know many of you are coaches, consultants, you do one-on-one work, all the rest of it. And we have all had the experience of, damn it, I lost a one-on-one client. And that contract might have been, for low money, mid money, it could have been for huge money. But every single one of us in that realm has had that experience of, damn, I lost a customer. And it's expensive and it hurts. However, here's what you need to know. Let's just imagine that this is your mastermind, and I'll draw it here. And you're the center point, and then we have partner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to say this is just an 8-person mastermind, and I want you to imagine that this is a sort of mid-range to low-end mastermind, and we're going to put it at 15K. Okay? Now what this means is that this mastermind generates 120K a year. Hey, there we go. It's too floppy paper. Now, the part that people don't recognize, and this is why you must invest in the support, in the service, in the positioning, in the structure of your mastermind ahead of time, not after, is that if you succeed at this piece, and then you have mutiny on the mastermind, okay? So I'm going to do this. So this person's happy, this person's happy, this person is meh, this person is not happy, this person is meh, this person over here is not happy, this person over here is happy, and this person over here is meh. What you've got to understand is that these people who are dissatisfied, the very first thing that they do is they talk to the people that are closest to them. It's like, hey, are you satisfied with this? Hey, did you like how that was handled? Hey, did you notice that the food at the buffet was completely shit? And these people begin to just stir up a little bit of stuff. And never underestimate the power of negativity. So if you've got somebody nearby them that's meh, they are soon not meh, they're soon in that circumstance. And if you've got someone over here who is happy, they then begin to question it. Now, this is a long way to draw this, but I need you to understand this one thing, is that if your mastermind goes awry, you didn't just lose a client, you didn't just lose $5,000, you didn't just lose $10,000. Here's what happens, is when the mastermind crumbles, you lose all of them. All of them. And a $120,000 mistake, that's a silly mistake to make when support, structure, expertise, and tools is available to you to make sure that that doesn't happen. And yet time and time again, I see people out there who have no facilitation skills whatsoever, who are driven by the money, just putting anyone that they want into that particular group. And the fact is, the reality is that many of these people would have been really, when I say these people, I'm talking about the sad people, or the grumpy people, they would have been happy in the right group. It's not that they're bad people, it's not any of those sort of things, they just were not vetted properly and matched properly so that they brought the value to the mastermind and the mastermind brought the value to them and that was a right match. So it's too expensive. Please hear this. It's too expensive to let even one person in who's not the right match, because at the end of the day, it costs too much. So I want to recap this for you. Well, actually, let me see if there's any comments or questions here, because this is an unbelievably important component. Hello, Jason Lane. Good to see you again. Mastermind leaders are so excited to get anyone to join that they forget that they want the right people. Yes, and honest to goodness, it takes, number one, it takes some courage. It takes some integrity. It takes some financial success to be able to say no to somebody standing there with a $25,000 check. That takes some capacity and clarity. But the honest goodness truth is, if you have this happen to you, or a mastermind goes to hell in a handbasket just once, you'll know that you can't do it. Okay? So for goodness sakes, please, 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 just trust me on this point when I say that this is imperative. It is freaking imperative. Okay. So let me just recap the three top reasons why masterminds fail. And then if you have any other questions or comments, I of course will do my very best to answer them for you in the moment or two that we've got. Actually, I guess we don't have a moment or two, just looking at the time. So the number 3, actually perhaps we should just show them on that process. That way it's sometimes easier. The number 3 reason why masterminds fail is structure. Either too much or too little, and you've got to design the structure to have balance to fulfill your promise. Get the structure right, and the rest of it becomes super, super easy. And by the way, when I say get the structure right, that also means that you're going to be mixing it up and moving it around. So structure is informed and determined by promise, not by convenience, not by what your mentor did, not by what you saw somebody else make great money at. Structure is determined by your promise, and you've got to balance it between having it nice and tight and strong and purposeful at the beginning, and then having it nice and loose and creating lots of white space for people to connect. The number 2 reasons why masterminds fail is lack of facilitation skills. It is a coach who's great with one-on-one that doesn't understand all of the dynamics that happen in the room and isn't willing to have the difficult conversations about the dips and the turns. If you run a mastermind, you are in the dip and turn management business. That's really what you're doing, because you're doing it over a long haul. And when you start to see yourself that way and you start to see your group in that light, things get different. And then the number 1 reason is vetting. This is one of the reasons why in the Launch Your Mastermind bootcamp program is that we have quite literally 6 different application processes. We teach you how to do the interview after the application process. We teach you to do all of the pieces that are necessary. We teach you how to get rid of somebody if they are a deadhead in the group. All of those things are unbelievably important to protect the quality and the caliber of the group and your business model. So those are the 3, my friends. And let me just see if there's any other quick questions. This is a good question, Jason. How do you find the right people in the midst of the masses? Well, first and foremost is that you continue to communicate your stand. And in the bootcamp program, we have a full module. And I'll just tell you straight up, it is the most complex and difficult module, and it's called Perfect Positioning. And in Perfect Positioning, we go to great lengths to, number 1, craft the promise and figure out who cares about that promise. And we want that promise to be as specific as we possibly can, because the specificity of the promise tells us, number 1, where are these people hanging out? What events are they attending? What magazines are they reading? What social media platforms are they using? What is the problem that they go to sleep at night worrying about? What are the solutions that they're already attempting to buy? What did they buy just a little bit earlier than what your solution is? So everybody who is in this spot is likely heading to this spot. So we spent a lot of time getting into the psychographics of who that right person is. Because the truth of the matter is this: as a mastermind leader, you are uninterested in the masses. The masses will piss away and waste your time. All you need is meaningful conversations with somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 50 people, and you'll have a successful and fantastic mastermind. But those 25 to 50 people must share the same problem and must be motivated by your promise. That's the key to it. Do not worry about the masses. See if I can anything else I can answer. Okay, we're in good shape. All right, gang. So here's the thing. We keep an eye on these Facebook Lives. So do 2 things. Type the word master in the chat window below. When you type the word master, you are going to get access to the Mastermind Mentors Manual, which, by the way, going back to problem number 3, which is structure, it is a fantastic example of exactly how to run a mastermind meeting. The ground rules, the bringing in a new member, the getting rid of an old member, and that beginning tight structure, just R&D it directly from the manual. For goodness sakes, we're giving it to you. Make your life easy. Use it. Novel concept. Use it. So type that word in master. You'll also get notifications of our upcoming events and trainings. Last thing I'm going to say to you is this: if you did not attend the 3 ludicrous lives, so I have a live training, and it's a 90-minute. This is an in-depth one, because I'm giving you a bunch of tools through this process of the Facebook Lives, but I wanted to go deeper. I want to go to the reason why sometimes people can't use the tools. And so I have a live training called The 3 Ludicrous Lies That Entrepreneurs Tell Themselves That Create Hardship, Stall Growth, and Cause Business Failure, and the unbelievably simple solutions that build financial independence, create joy, and fulfill your passions. So that live training is happening tonight at 7 p.m. That's Mountain Time, by the way. So click the button. There's a button just up below, and just up, and I think that Stephen just put it below as well. Click that button and set a couple of hours aside to deep dive into who you must be and what you must do to truly succeed as a mastermind leader. And I will give you everything I've got. It is live. I am there. We'll have Q&A. And in fact, I always show up 15 minutes early to have a little bit of Q&A and conversation with people before the actual live training starts. So if you want to pick my brain, if you've got some questions about any of the content I've covered here, join me there 15 minutes early, and then I'm going to spend approximately 90 minutes, then we'll have Q&A at the end, showing you what really is necessary to get your mastermind up and running and how you should get yourself into a fantastic mastermind as well. So come join me. I'm thrilled to serve. We're going to be doing this for about another week and take advantage of everything we got. Make sure there's any other questions. Up below, very Canadian. Hey Sean, how the hell are you? Good to see you. Please join me today. We got that. All good. Okay, this one was a little longer because of the content. Enjoy. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. Talk soon. Bye-bye.